Yeah, when you had told me that, I did some deep diving because I was like, man, these things look like toys. And there's a reason why they transform the same too. Obviously, in an accelerated manner, because it's not going to show like Starscream being like, 1 second, how did this wait, oh right, this part goes back. And
yeah, just imagine like
I need
in the show,
the
like
instructions.
a pair of giant hands in the show comes down and just
giant hairy hands with like Cheeto dust on them, being like, okay, 1 sec. And then you hear like the ruffling of paper as they check the instructions. I mean, that would be kind of funny.
And then and meanwhile Starscream is just like, can you hurry the fuck up already?
And
you know how uncomfortable this is?
Too much energy.
Hooray, you're Silverbolt.
These upgrades come with a warranty.
Blah, 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 blah. Beast Wars once and for all. Titor, what have you done?
I am giving this episode no energon.
What are you, a Quintesson?
this is no energon. Fuck it. I can't.
Sigma balls, Gary. No, not that.
Good evening, Cybertronians. Welcome to episode 83 of Too Much Energon, the podcast where we talk about Beast Wars shit and talk shit about Beast Wars, coming to you live from a mysterious floating mountain somewhere on planet Energon. I'm the Siege, one of your hosts. Can you tell I haven't done that in a while because I was kind of fumbling the intro there. Anyway, yeah, I'm Siege.
Hello, Siege, and coming to you from a derelict spaceship, precariously wedged over a waterfall. It's me, NeoCal.
Hi, Cal.
Hello.
Hello. Yes.
We're back.
We're back, baby. We're back on Cybertron.
That's right. It took 3 million years of flying through open space.
It took us going to beast mode and preparing for the long journey ahead of us.
And then when we were there, we dug in our wheels, and decided to be on the bad guy side.
Yes.
If anybody
dug in our heels, spun our wheels, and had all the feels.
And if you're wondering what the heck we're talking about, it's because we just finished Beast Machines.
Yeah,
and that has wheels and feels.
And
heels.
And what other rhyme can we throw in there?
Spiels? Meals on wheels.
Meals. There we go. Meals. Spiels. Spiels. Which a spiel is German for music. So there you go.
Oh boy, did it have the spiel.
And also we took a month off from the show.
Feels like so much more.
I know. I think it was
I don't know why.
At the time of recording, it's May 24th of 2022. I believe it's been 1 month to the day since episode 82 of Too Much Energon. And I'm just gonna go to my podcast hosting service to double check. Make sure I'm not completely talking out of my ass, which I am. The last episode of Too Much Energon was April 26th, not the 24th.
Yeah. Wow. My birthday's in a couple weeks.
Yes, your birthday's in a couple of weeks.
Are you sure it's not March?
Oh, wow. Believe me, I know it's not March. There's an event coming up very shortly that I am dreading with every fiber of my being. Listeners, I'm moving. Not only am I moving, but I'm moving.
I thought you were worried about the Hell in a Cell match that you have to do. No, not Hell in a Cell. Oh, he's allergic to Hell in a Cell.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to sneeze there. Which I could just cut it out, and I might. Who knows? I might just leave it in.
Do what I want. Yeah, but there's a dreaded move.
Yeah, there's a move coming up. I'm moving to the place that I live in right now, Lasercomb HQ. I've lived here for 6 years. This is the longest I've ever lived anywhere in my life, and I'm moving for the first time in 6 years. And not only that, but I'm leaving my city of residence, Victoria, after 8 years. Well, I'm going to be completely transparent. I'm moving in with my uncle temporarily in another city because sometimes, as I like to say, sometimes life finds a way and sometimes life gets in the way.
That's a good saying.
And I'm in a stage in my existence right now where life is very much getting in the way.
So you got in one little fight and your mom got scared and said you're moving in with your uncle
with
island.
your auntie and uncle in Ladysmith.
Rolls off the tongue.
I'm very grateful that they're taking me in at a relatively low amount of rent. I'm very grateful for that, but it is not a situation that I have any actual desire to be in. It is purely out of necessity at the moment. Hence the dread.
Hence the dread. And anybody that's familiar with our off-air discussions knows that boy, oh boy, the housing crisis is hitting. We apparently live in the #1 city in the world to come and move to because boy, oh boy, our prices going up. And if you're not already amongst the elite who own property, that's not good.
I read recently that Victoria, BC is the second most expensive place to live in Canada.
Oh, we're #2 now.
We're #2. We're only beaten by Vancouver. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Victoria, BC, of all places, is more expensive to live than Montreal, Quebec City, Toronto, Ottawa, the nation's fucking capital. It is more expensive to live here than any of those big ass cities. And
yeah, so I'm being priced out soon. Maybe we shall see.
It's completely preposterous. And
but how come the hours of my favorite restaurant are lowering?
We listeners on our Patreon at the $10 tier, we have a show called Lasercomb Tonight, where we kind of cover news and current events in in relative depth. And a recent story that Cal had discussed on there was the tautological irony of there being an issue with finding workers to construct housing in Victoria because there aren't enough workers who can afford to live in Victoria.
Think about the insanity that has to happen for those stars to like line up.
That sounds like a fucking Onion article.
That sounds like an Onion article.
No, it's actually true.
No,
it's
and meanwhile, all the rich people are like, oh, what do we mean that my favorite restaurant is acting on like reduced hours? Why can't they just hire more of the poors? Oh, that's right. I've raised the poor's rent from $1,200 a month to $2,000 a month. But why can't they just, live in their van and rough it? For the sake of me having my tartar and avocado themed $25 meal. Can you tell I live in like an overpriced hipster town? And I've got that angst, that upper class angst like building. I mean, I have my purge mask right beside me. Guess what animal I chose?
Just waiting for the mayhem to happen.
I'm just waiting.
I'm going to be perfectly honest. I had a moment yesterday. I was outside cooking. This was a very irresponsible thing to do. But I was outside cooking and literally just got mad and threw a glass at the wall.
We live in a society.
Yeah. It was
but was it satisfying?
It was in the moment. I regret doing it, but not because of the broken glass, just because like it kind of makes me seem like a madman.
But did anybody was anybody present to see you do it?
No, I don't think so. I don't think my
then
landlords.
Just enjoy the moment.
I don't think my landlords or my next door neighbors were even home at the time.
Well, you actually got to live in the moment for once.
Yeah. And then I did it again. So I broke 2 glasses. I'm now down 2 glasses.
But do you need any more than one?
Uh, considering the way my life is right now, no, not really.
Realize how damning that had sounded when I had initially said it. Do you need more than one anyway?
I'm just
There can be only one.
there could be only one, and then just like sad Affleck meme.
Well, that's bringing me back.
Right, that was
Sad
like,
Affleck.
yeah, that meme was spreading around like what, like 5, 6 years ago now.
Yeah.
Because I think he was being interviewed for like Justice League or Batman v Superman or something.
And he had like spaced out or kind of just looked sad, and that slow camera zoom into his face. It was often accompanied with like a
Hello,
sad
Darkness.
sound bite. That's it.
Hello,
yeah.
Darkness, my old friend.
That's it. Yeah.
And to be fair, it ended up coming out later on that he was going through a divorce and was dealing with a bad alcoholism issues, and not only that, but his experience working on Justice League was hell.
Mm-hmm.
So he was in a shit place in his life at that point.
Yeah. So let sad Affleck have his moment.
Yeah.
Let
And
people
indeed.
be sad.
Indeed. And well, anyway, as I mentioned, this is episode 83 of Too Much Energon. What are we talking about this week?
Oh, you better believe that we're finally moving from beyond turn of the millennium, and we're going all the way to War for Cybertron, baby. That's right. We started with Beast Wars. We're at War for Cybertron. We did a little time jump here.
Yeah, we've traveled 4 million years back to the future.
I know that our listeners were excited because they thought we'd move on to, chronologically speaking, what would have been the next thing?
Play the Japanese Beast Wars.
Japanese Beast Wars, maybe, and then like the animated Transformers,
right.
the animated series.
There's also
maybe movies.
There was also a Transformers cartoon in the mid 2010s called Power of the Primes, which actually had our
remember
boy,
that? Yeah,
it had our boy Gary Primal in it. So
I was gonna say, yeah,
that could be something. I think he was voiced. Yeah, he was voiced by Ron Perlman in it. So that could be something that we could talk about at some point too. But this week
Did
we
people
are
not like that.
Not really, no.
That
Speaking of
explains
people,
why I haven't watched any of it.
speaking of people not liking things, we this week on Too Much Energon, we are talking about War for Cybertron Siege, Chapter 1.
Siege. It's themed around you.
It's themed around you. When we had, I remember when we did episode 50 of Too Much Energon, and we had Dan from What the Famicom. He dubbed me like, I go by Christopher Siege. He dubbed you Cal Earthrise, and himself Dan Kingdom. So I figure when we eventually get to like War for Cybertron Kingdom, we should have him on the show again.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I forgot about that.
So interestingly enough, this is a Netflix show. They released all 6 episodes at the same time on July 30th of 2020. Does that date ring a bell to you?
July 30th, 2020. 2 podcasters. Go ahead. Go ahead.
That's the day we recorded the first episode of Too Much Energon.
Yeah.
Incidentally, at that point, I didn't even know that the War for Cybertron trilogy was a thing.
We didn't know it was coming out. We didn't know it was released on that same day, and I didn't know until weeks later.
I think I started watching it in like September,
like way later, basically. Yeah. And Siege was like, "Have you watched War for Cybertron?" And I'm like, "No, we swear we like Transformers, folks." And I'm like, "No," and I watched it, and I just like watched the entirety of it, and I was like, "Holy shit, is this exceptionally good?"
Here's the funny thing about the War for Cybertron cartoon. Transformers fans hate it.
They hate War for Cybertron?
They hate War for Cybertron. I frequent one Transformers forum in particular, and everyone on there is like, the voice acting's terrible, the writing's bad, the animation, the CG animation's bad, blah, 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 blah. They complain incessantly about how terrible the show is. Want to know something funny? War for Cybertron Siege has a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes based on like 20 reviews, saying
5%.
95% saying visually stunning, surprisingly deep, and still a lot of fun. War for Cybertron Siege breathes new life into the Transformers franchise. So literally the opposite of what hardcore Transformers fans bitch about with this show.
Hardcore or not, well, anybody that's watched us or anyone that's joining us, like, welcome. But we take everything with no loyalties or fandom or preconceived like nostalgic loyalty.
Right.
We try to be as objective as possible when we watch and view things. And
as I always say, I like to give things a fair shake.
And visually, I actually didn't even really know that like CG shows could be this good. This is shockingly amazingly animated. Like, I've never seen anything like this, and I mean that when I say it. This is like kind of the best animation I've ever seen.
Yeah, outside of like, say, like a Pixar film or something like that.
Oh, outside of like feature, like outside of feature films, outside of like, you know, like multi-million-dollar like movies where whole studios are like Pixar or Disney build up engines just for the snow in Frozen, right? Or Pixar's like fluid physics animation, like the in the movies that they run to emulate like different fabrics and stuff. That's in a league by itself. But for just like a show to randomly like pop up on Netflix and it be this well animated is a very pleasant surprise.
Well, what's cool is they take the and this show is produced by Rooster Teeth of all people, which I'll talk more about that in a minute.
Produced by Rooster Teeth, and boy oh boy, have they come a long way since Ruby.
Oh, I was gonna say since Red versus Blue.
There we go. Well, I know like Ruby actually had like an ongoing anime series and a video game.
Yeah,
so they've come a long way.
I think I think it even has a spin-off now that just came out.
Oh man, yeah. But I mean like kudos, like hot damn.
Yeah, the what they do with the character models is they actually scan the toys, the War for Cybertron toys.
And on that note, to move away from the animation and onto what I guess people have complained about, the voice acting. Ooh, I'm a big fan. I'm a big old fan, man.
I really like the voice actor who does Megatron.
Controversial which is apparently a controversial opinion.
Controversial opinion. I think he gives a better and more nuanced performance than Frank Welker did in the G1 cartoon.
Death threats inbound. I guess.
Unsubscribe.
Unsubscribed. But things that people voices that stand out to me on the show, Megatron.
Yep.
Starscream, right? Like immediately. The more subtle or smooth voices, like say Bumblebee, I'm like whatever. But like Wheeljack stands out, right? And I feel like they do capture the essence of that character really well.
Well, and one of the reasons why I like the guy who does, I'm gonna look him up, kind of give him his due here. Jason.
Oh, you're talking about
Megatron, yeah. Jason Marnoka. I think one of the reasons why I like his performance so well is that he does his own thing with it. One voice I'm going to criticize in the show, however, is the guy who does the voice of Optimus Prime. And the reason why is because he's trying to give like this really like gruff and like battered performance, but he's also trying to sound like Peter Cullen too. I think he would have been better served if he had just like done his own thing, like the guy who does the voice of Megatron does.
Maybe it grew on me and I ended up liking it into like Earthrise. Like I can hear his voice in my head, and I ended up liking it a lot. But I can understand that criticism for sure. And indeed, I remember the fallout of when of people talking about War for Cybertron and the OG voice actors, some of them being a little kind of jumping on that bandwagon, being like, oh, it would have been nice if I was like, hired as a consultant in the very least.
Our favorite Gary was kind of salty about this show.
Was yeah, was
yeah, he's criticized the voice act, publicly criticized the voice acting of this show.
And I don't know, like I don't think voice actors should criticize voice actors.
It comes across as a tad unprofessional.
Yeah, and wanting to be like, hey, it would have been at least nice if I could be brought in as a consultant. Maybe that's a little back patty there, but like you don't own the character.
Well, we're
like I said,
we're definitely never getting Gary on the show now.
I was gonna say now we'll never get him on the show, but like voice actors that have a long run as a certain character, like like you're iconic and people like love you, and indeed, like, hey, most of these episodes of Too Much Energon have us like, we don't even call Optimus like Primal in Beast Wars and and Beast Machines. We don't call him Optimus Primal. We call him Gary. Gary Primal, right? It's iconic and like we love him, but I'm okay with letting new people like try things, but I'm also okay if people hate it.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's like, hey, if you want to sign an online petition being like, hey, recast and like refilm this or whatever, then like go for it. Something where the consumer actually had a voice was the Sonic movie. Y'all remember the OG Sonic trailer with Nightmare Fuel Sonic?
I do. Have you seen the new Disney Plus film Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers?
No.
It is shockingly good. It stars Andy Samberg as the voice of one of them, and it's directed by one of the other Lonely Island guys. It's very Who Framed Roger Rabbit-ish.
Really?
That original Sonic has a cameo in the movie.
Are you?
I'm dead serious, and it's such a fucking funny scene.
Whoa! I'm bringing up a tab. I'm not going to play it while we're on air.
this Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers movie on Disney Plus just came out like a few days ago. It's really good. I highly recommend it. And there's so many bizarre cameos in it too. A Transformer cameos, and of all Transformers, it's Blaster.
Blaster.
Yeah.
Everyone's favorite iconic Transformer.
The guy who's in like one scene in Transformers the movie.
Wait, this is a different ugly Sonic. Like it's animated in that studio. It's not the OG Sonic. It's even uglier than.
Yeah, the shtick in the film is that he is at he does the convention circuit as like kind of like a washed up celebrity.
Huh.
What
the fuck?
It's a funny gag.
Huh, interesting. I never thought I'd want to watch a Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers movie, but here we are.
Yeah, and it's got this kind of like there's a lot of meta humor in it. Like I said, lots of batshit cameos of characters that aren't even Disney characters, which is the thing that really surprised me.
Yeah, Blaster. Wow.
I know, right? I'm like, someone involved in making this movie must have been a fan of Blaster. Like that must have been his favorite Transformer when he was a kid or something.
That was the one he drew first when he was a kid, or the first toy that he had or something. Yeah.
It's like no, not a more immediately recognizable Transformer like Starscream or Optimus Prime or Megatron or Bumblebee. No, Blaster.
Or even like a secondary like cast. RC, Wheeljack.
Yeah, Springer, Ultra Magnus.
Jet. Not Jet Scream.
Jetstorm.
Jetstorm, thank you. Yeah,
Ultra
Jetstorm
Magnus
even.
would have been a fun cameo. But yeah, Blaster of all characters.
Oh, well,
And-
get your blasters ready, folks, because now that we've said, if anybody is still listening after we've praised War for Cybertron enough, it might be a theme.
Yeah. In particular, when we get to Earthrise, because I think Earthrise is the best of the three miniseries, the 3 seasons. It's the one I enjoyed the most, anyway.
I need to revisit them, which we'll be doing as we review the episodes. But
yeah,
I liked Siege a lot. It felt slower and darker and more emotional, and you see a lot of the characters' arcs start and to begin to change. But we'll get into that.
Well, and indeed, Earthrise very much feels like it feels like a middle chapter of something. Which it is. So it makes sense.
But I mean, that's not bad, right? You have the most to work with those middle chapters, in my opinion. When we're a ways away from Kingdom, but it runs into the classic issue that we have seen reviewing Beast Wars and Beast Machines, where it's like, oh shit, how many episodes are left and how much do we have to do?
Yeah, and we'll get into that several episodes in the podcast from now. But yeah, Kingdom wraps things up way too quickly in the end, and then it doesn't even wrap everything up. It ends on like a cliffhanger, which it appears is never going to be resolved because because they had pitched a follow-up to it to Netflix, and Netflix passed on it.
How dare
I know.
Hulu, get on that show.
So War for Cybertron
in episode 1?
War for Cybertron Siege, episode 1. Episode opens on Cybertron. Cybertron's torn to shit. We see Bumblebee and Wheeljack walking, and right away the show like establishes that this is a completely different take on the Transformers storyline, because Bumblebee isn't even an Autobot.
He's just a dude. And indeed, Autobots are a faction.
Yeah, much like the Decepticons, but the Autobots, by most accounts of it seems like most of Cybertron are Decepticons and see the Autobots as the bad guys, as like a rebel group.
And indeed, the Decepticons were the oppressed. Anybody familiar with any amount of lore, they were the slave class, the worker class, the lower caste,
right,
of Transformer. And this is coming off of the tales of that uprising, the fall of capitalism and them taking power.
Mm-hmm. So we find out through some dialogue that Wheeljack has hired Bumblebee because, as I mentioned, he's not an Autobot. He's a Energon scavenger. He's just a dude who...
He's just a dude
who finds Energon for people in exchange for money.
And he's sneaky, because right away he's all like, hey, Wheeljack, I know where you're from. You like to go in guns blazing. So already he's kind of wary of the Autobots.
Yeah.
Right? Like they just seem like they want to fight. And he's like, you could try stealth, because that's how I stay alive, buddy.
Yeah.
Now, are you going to pay me or what? And I'm like,
yeah, the
civilization has fallen. He's helping Autobots, or theoretically whoever hires him, find Energon. What do they pay him with? And
more Energon?
Too much. Yeah, I'm like, because money, like it's like Megatron's gonna probably do away with currency or have his own. So like, what's more important? And keep in mind,
Deceptibucks.
Oh yes, one Energon cube is worth 5 Deceptibucks.
It brings my fee up to 1 million Deceptibucks.
1 million Deceptibucks.
A million? That's not fair. Unfair to the payor, but not to the payee. Pizza the Hut. That's where I was going.
Thank you. Another article number 57 and how old we are. Folks.
Right.
We could do space balls jokes off of the top of our head.
The two movies in my life that I've seen the absolute most, because I watched them on repeat as a child: Transformers the movie and Spaceballs. I can recite both of those movies very easily.
For me, it's The Labyrinth, Jim Henson's The Labyrinth, starring David Bowie.
Right.
Which is a musical. And gosh, what else? Maybe The Breakfast Club.
I've seen The Breakfast Club, but only a few times. And I think the last time I saw it was like maybe 15 years ago. I think I caught it on TV.
I might know the script of both of those movies at this point. Shows I watched a lot when I was younger.
Right.
Oldest of many cousins and siblings.
Speaking of scripts, Bumblebee delivers Wheeljack to what we find out is an old space bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And wouldn't you know it, the motherfucking Decepticons show up and be like, "We'll take those Deceptibucks."
No, for all your Deceptibucks. And your clothes, too. Especially you, Wheeljack.
Don't forget the shoes.
What size are you? Yellow one. And indeed, they go to scan them, right? And Bumblebee, the scanner is like, I can't remember which one does the scanning. They just said his name, but
okay, so yeah, the Seekers show up, and three Seekers show up. Again, another way this show like establishes very quickly that this is completely different than anything we've seen before with the G1 characters. They're led by Jetfire.
Yeah.
Which is okay. The Seekers,
Starscream doesn't like it.
Yeah, and Starscream is kind of maybe he's second in command, who knows? But
he wants to be in charge because one of the things he says is you're aiding the Autobots, so you might as well be an Autobot. And he goes to shoot them. And,
yeah, he's like the punishment is to execute Autobots on site. And Jetfire chops his fucking hand off.
Yeah, with his like little pulse blade, just chops his arm off.
And he's like, "Listen, bitch, this is my call.
This is my call." And shockingly, Starscream rallies the other Seekers. And he's all like, "If I was in charge, we would execute all Autobots and their sympathizers on the spot.
Yeah.
And people like you." And he actually appeals to the rest of the Seekers. And he's like, "In fact, maybe we should execute all three of you right here." And the Seekers all turn their guns on Jetfire. And I'm like, wow, loyalty is hard to fucking come by, I guess.
Well,
yeah,
and indeed,
because Jetstream is such a great public speaker.
Well, you know, the other Seekers are just redecos of Starscream, so they're just literally just repaints of him. So maybe they're brothers. Who knows?
They don't like how tall Jetfire is, anyway.
Yeah. He's like, they're Voyager class. He's a leader class. They've got like leader envy going on.
Yeah, they're like, man, fuck this guy. But wouldn't you know it when they start fighting, because Jetfire is like, okay, let's do this, punk ass bitches. And he starts fighting them. And right before the fight gets like lethal, Wheeljack and Bumblebee like take off and they start running away. And he's like, "You idiots," and like slaps them around like Three Stooges. And he's like, they're getting away. But they bump into somebody even taller.
Yeah, speaking of leaders, they bump into Megatron.
And he's like, "Oh yes, where are these two going?" Whoops, sorry, that was an old impression. Yeah, he's more like, "What have we here? Rebel scum."
Yeah. So Starscream starts complaining to Megatron, and he's like, Dad, he cut my hand off. I should be in charge.
Silence, wretch.
Megatron's just like, shut up. Fuck you.
Yeah, and Jetfire is like, he started it. And he's like, silence, both of you.
Both of you go to your rooms.
Go to your rooms and think about what you've done.
And so Megatron gives like this speech about how like he
We're not just gonna blow these fuckers up. We have to help them see why change is good.
yeah, we need to appeal to the Autobots and reason with them and make them see the error of their ways. Just killing them isn't going to solve the problem.
Now that we've already won.
But long story short, Megatron ends up deciding to just kill them anyway.
Yeah, because Wheeljack is like, we'll never join you, dumbass. And he's like, well, I gave you a chance. Goodbye.
Yeah. And execute the other guy too, because, you know, at least Wheeljack I can respect, because even though he's a fucking idiot, he wears it with pride with that stupid symbol on his chest.
You know what? And this brings me to point number one about why I really like this Megatron. At least he respects his enemies because they take a side and they're not afraid to die for their cause.
Yeah.
Bumblebee is just a transient scavenger, someone with no loyalties, someone who does not belong on new Cybertron.
Yeah. And
because I'm like, whoa. I can get behind that.
Because indeed, Bumblebee keeps making a point of saying, I'm not an Autobot, goddammit.
Yeah, don't kill me. I'm not an Autobot. And it's like, I'll kill you first because you don't even have any allegiance.
And so they're about to execute them. And wouldn't you know it, like the fucking bus from Speed, in comes like smashing in Optimus Prime. And
pretty great entrance.
It is a pretty great entrance. It's incredibly dramatic. So he like transforms and goes to robot mode, and then Megatron goes to tank mode and starts firing his like giant cannon at him. And I'm like, why did you need to transform to do that? You've got that big fucking gun on your arm.
Maybe it's kind of like the modifier from G1, how he would turn into a gun. But just that little gun would be devastating if it shot you.
Yeah, it's
maybe
the
he does more
gun
damage
from GoldenEye, basically.
Basically, when he transformed in G1 into the gun and Starscream shot him, it was like a one-shot kill, baby. I'm guessing his tank mode, it packs more of a punch.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, even in Transformers the movie, Galvatron, when he first shows up, he transforms into a cannon and then blows Starscream away.
And obliterates him so hard that his Starscream spark goes through space and time and just disappears. Becomes doesn't return to the Matrix, even just becomes immortal somehow. He killed him so hard that he didn't even die.
And he and in turn he then does the opposite of the anti-Waspinator move.
Yeah. Yeah, he goes to planet Energon back in time.
Yeah. Instead of just flying 4 million in space for 4 million years.
Starscream's going to do what's called a pro Decepticon move.
And so they fight. Optimus Prime and Megatron shit talk each other, and they end up fucking off back to base.
Storytelling, it tells you their values, it tells you.
Yeah. And they get saved by Elita 1 and her sniper rifle. Can't remember. I think it was Elita 1. Yeah, it was Elita 1. Because there's Elita 1 and there's Chromia. Are the two
is right.
The blue one. But we do see her later, but she's back at base camp. The two main chicks in this show.
Yeah, Chromia is the godly sharpshooter.
Yeah.
That we will see more of in future episodes.
Yeah. So yeah, they go back to base camp, and Optimus is like subtly trying to convince Bumblebee to join them. And Bumblebee's like, no, fuck you. But he's like, well, at least come back with us, and we'll get our doctor to fix you up. You look like you could use some repairs. And Bumblebee's like, okay, sure.
Fine. And then it's like, hey, well, we don't have the what's the currency? They do have a current credits.
Deceptibucks.
It's Deceptibucks now. Hey, we're a little low on Deceptibucks. You just gotta chill. And he's like, quit stalling. I want my money. But the part of me is like, I feel like Optimus is purposefully like stalling and keeping Bumblebee around and all of this to try to bring him over to his side.
Totally, yeah.
Looks through his like transformer wallet and he's all like, oh, I'm a little short. Yeah, 1 sec, I gotta go and
gotta go hit the ATM.
Hit the ATM, yeah.
We just happen to have one on the other side of the base.
Yeah. Yeah, his name's Jerry. Hey, Jerry.
It makes that like transforming sound.
Yeah, his is probably just like
then he withdraws the Deceptibox, and then Jerry goes back into robot mode. He's like, I also double as a cook.
There we go.
He's a triple changer, and then he turns into a microwave.
Yeah, there we go. There's an Autobot named Jerry. He's an ATM. He's the chef when he's in robot form, and he's also a microwave.
Oh, we should call him Jeremy.
Jeremy.
Yeah, to call back to an old joke.
Wow. Yeah. Hey, man. The fandom can be whatever you want it to be.
Yeah. If anyone's wondering what we're talking about, this was ages ago. This was like a year and a half ago now, yeah. I think. I encountered this guy on this Transformers group in Facebook who wrote this like really terrible like Beast Wars fanfic. And I was like, hey, the characters don't, that as you depict them, don't sound anything like the characters in the show. Like they're saying like completely and behaving in like completely opposite manners.
Story
as to how they
aside and writing prowess aside, the characters don't sound
like that.
Don't feel like that.
Yeah. And he got defensive and was like, gave me this like massive essay. Like it was huge. I sent Cal screenshots of it. Like it was a fucking massive essay, like explaining about why his fanfic was valid, which fair, but whatever. I didn't really care. But
that anything is valid in the fanfic verse.
Exactly. That was basically his point. And then he goes on this weird like tangent about how about this like transformer he has that he like custom made or something that he named Jeremy.
And that's when that he talks about, and it's been like alive in his kind of like Transformers verse canon
for like 30 years or something like that.
Yeah, and that was when Christopher Siege was like, you have a nice day, good sir.
You do you, buddy.
But yeah, so Jeremy is in our fandom, and now we know what it is. Jeremy is an ATM,
an ATM and a microwave.
Yeah.
We managed to work that like bizarre interaction that I had with this dude on Facebook ages ago. We managed to work it into the Too Much Energon canon.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's like first 10 episodes of Too Much Energon.
Oh yeah, totally. Anyway, so Bumblebee gets a tour of base camp, which we find out is the Autobot Ark, the ship.
That's right, the Ark.
Not only do they take off in it, like spoilers, like we know they're gonna fucking leave Cybertron.
I was gonna say, if anybody watching this is unaware that they're going to leave Cybertron, well, welcome to watching the first of any Transformers thing ever.
Yeah.
But the Ark is kind of in everything. Like it's the only if you want to count it as a transformer, it's the only transformer that's actually in every arc. Well, almost every arc.
Yeah, pretty much. Fuck, the thing even showed up in Beast Wars.
That's
they-
what I
Because they find the arc
It's
in the mountain.
It transcends space and time, and it's everywhere.
Well, indeed, it does actually in Kingdom. It does transform, and they did recently make a toy, a Titan class toy of the Ark, which I was so close to buying, but I'm like, I had to like do a little bit of exercise, a little bit of grown up restraint, and be like, I can't spend $250 on one transformer. Plus, the thing is fucking massive. Where am I gonna put it?
Massive, yeah.
The thing's huge.
Put it on your lap, or buy one of those toddler carrying like vests and keep it just in front of you in like one of those baby vests.
The box for the thing is like the size of, do you remember the boxes that Guitar Hero guitars came in?
It's they're like
It's
5 feet.
Yeah, it's the box that the Arc toy comes in is that big. But anyway, so yeah, he's getting a tour of the Ark. We get to meet some more Autobots. We meet Chromia, as I mentioned earlier. We meet Red Alert. We meet Hound. Hound is kind of, I think he has like maybe 1 or 2 lines. And so Optimus comes back and he's like, all right, here's your Deceptibucks, but we'd really like it if you could stay. And he's like, no, I'm good. I'm leaving. And then a couple of the Transformers are like, hey, wait a minute. He knows where we are. We should kill him. We don't want him telling Megatron. And Optimus flips out and he's like, we are not Decepticons. Like very angrily, which I'm like, good on you.
Yeah. Because then what are you fighting for? It's that like, hey, no. Like if we can't uphold the principles we're fighting for, which is a big theme for Optimus, by the way,
In this show,
is sticking to no matter what, even when it's your enemy's gonna murder you, you got to stick to your principles. And it's a big theme of and well, why he's admirable. I think they do a really good job of showing that. And indeed, if it means slapping his subordinates around and being like, no, you be good. Murder bad. Murder Decepticon. Not murder Autobot. That's what we do. We not murder.
Yeah.
I mean, well, unless it just happens in a firefight. Or what are you going to do?
I mean, if someone's shooting at you and it's you or them, like I get it.
Yeah, that's different.
So Bumblebee fucks off. We get introduced to this universe's version of Ultra Magnus.
We sure do.
And Ultra Magnus has a little bit of a talk with Optimus and is like, hey man, we should just give up. We should surrender to Megatron. And Optimus is like, no, he's the bad guy.
Like you don't get it, homie. Like he's bad.
And Ultra Magnus is like, yeah, but like we're on the verge of losing this war, and like both of you are like just as bad as one another, essentially, or just as fanatical.
You both kind of being like fanatical shitheads. And like, is that what the who's all 3 of their mentor?
Alpha Trion.
Maybe not this episode, but it's going to be name dropped. All 3 of them are kind of disciples of Alpha Trion. So they know each other before the war happens.
We'll find out as this show goes on, but it seemed like, if I recall correctly, because other than this episode, I haven't watched this since, 2020, so 2 years ago. From what I recall, I can't remember if Megatron and Optimus Prime are brothers or if they just used to be really good friends at one point, and then they just
they're like brothers in arms.
Oh, okay.
They're not like it seemed. Again, we haven't watched. We're revisiting it now, but like we haven't watched this since it came out. But yeah, they like fought together, and then the emerging factions from that uprising the Autobots formed because the Decepticons were getting a little fascisty.
Yeah.
For Optimus's liking. But yeah, they were all part of the uprising to begin with.
Right.
Yeah.
So then we cut to Megatron, and he's giving I don't know, he's at the like I don't know. He's at a football stadium.
The Megadome.
The Megadome. He's at the it's NFL
Septidome.
it's NFL on Fox Monday Night
They
Football.
basically took over Madison Square Garden
Oh, there you
as
go.
their new HQ. Yeah.
I couldn't think of the name of the stadium for whatever reason.
I did the whole time we were talking. I was like, "What's that famous one?" The only one I know is a Canadian.
MSG. Yeah. Anyway, so he's giving this big rousing speech about how basically Autobots bad. We need to stop them.
Autobots bad. You know, they're going to stop at nothing but to tear down our new empire. So we got to double down on all the propaganda. What are they called? There's like sites around where Autobots can give up. Can like these sites scattered around. I can't remember what they call them.
I remember what you're talking
We
about.
hear the propaganda as they're kind of basically like they're megaphones that are out, and it's World War II propaganda where they're like, "Oh, are you hungry? Do you need energon? The Decepticons will take care of you. Don't die for the extremist Optimus Prime."
Yeah. And then
Come
wouldn't you know
join us.
they're basically Transformer concentration camps. It's kind of the impression that I got.
And we'll see that's kind of true in the next few episodes.
Yeah. So everybody cheers, like
shoots their guns up in the air. Yeehaw!
Bang, bang, bang.
Yeah. Woohoo!
Yeah.
No gun laws. We did it. Right to bear arms.
We beat the libtards. Yeehaw! The episode ends with a shadowy figure walking toward Madison Square Garden wearing a cloak, but we can tell by the design of this character that it is very clearly Ultra Magnus.
Also, there's like 3 Transformers that are that tall.
Right.
Even he's a big guy.
I have the toy. I have the toy that this exact Ultra Magnus, and yeah, he's big. It's a big ass figure.
I like that visual, like him in the tattered cloak. I don't know why I thought that was really cool, and I was like, who is the first time I watched this? I was like, who is it? But seeing it now, I'm like, oh, okay, well, the silhouette is clearly Ultra Magnus.
Also, on the subject of that figure, he is one of a couple of Transformers that I have that will forever be in robot mode, because he is an absolute bitch to transform.
One of those ones that's just a pain in the ass. Yeah.
You know, all that, because he transforms into a truck with a trailer. You know, all that blue that's on him? That all comes off in pieces, and you have to like very awkwardly build a truck trailer out of that.
Oh shit! I thought that was a separate. I thought that was a separate piece.
No, it took me like a fucking hour when I got the figure to transform him.
The trailer goes into his robot form.
The trailer like comes apart into like all of these like blue pieces that like snap onto the like base of the figure, because like the cab, the figure itself is white, just like pure white. But as you see, he's got tons of blue and red on him.
Well, I remember you talking about that.
Yeah, all of that like all comes off in pieces, and like you awkwardly like essentially like Lego it together into the trailer for his truck mode. Absolute
and even
pain
if you like Transformers, and even if you like Legos,
absolute pain in the ass. I don't have the patience. I don't have the patience for it at this point in my life. So he stays in robot mode on my shelf. I got him in I think I got him in November because I got him on sale for like $30 at Toys R Us, because we still have those in Canada as a for Black Friday. So I got him on sale for like $30. He was normally a because he's leader class. Normally he was a $70 figure, but I got him for like $30.
As
so I got it
faded. Go ahead.
So I got him in November of 2020 and transformed him once, and he's been in robot mode on my shelf ever since.
Everybody gets one.
I transformed him once to take pictures, and that's it.
Yeah. And indeed, I really like, as ill-fated as Ultra Magnus is, I really like his man. We'll get into his journey when we over the next few episodes, but like, man, he brings up really good points.
Yeah.
And I kind of think he's the only one that's right, but the person that's right isn't always the winner in a war. So
sometimes the person that's right ends up decapitated, and their head rests on someone's mantle,
so that they can, alas, poor Yorick monologue.
Yeah.
Oh man, that is that.
And then you start going crazy, and it starts talking back to you.
That was when I was like, oh shit, this might be my favorite.
Oh shit,
might be my favorite Megatron.
This show is actually kind of brutal. And indeed, I think it's in Earthrise. Another character, Shockwave. We find out something like about him that's very dark.
Man, fuck that guy.
Which we'll get into. I think it happens in Earthrise. I can't remember, or if it's just late in this season, but we'll find out soon. Anyway, that was chapter 1 of War for Cybertron Siege. Here on Too Much Energon, we review, well, whatever it is we're talking about on any given week on the Too Much Energon scale, which ranges from not enough Energon to a sufficient amount of Energon to too much Energon. It's basically bad, okay, good. Cal, what you giving this episode?
I actually don't think I can think of any way this could have been a better episode 1. So it gets too much Energon for me.
Agreed.
They nailed it visually, everything.
Me too. They also too much Energon for me. The show is compelling right from the get-go. It sets its tone, which is incredibly dark. It sets its tone right out of the gate. And I applaud the fact that they are kind of turning what we know about Transformers on their head, its head.
Which of course is going to get people to rise against it, but
which of course is going to make hardcore fans of something happy when you completely reinterpret the thing that they love.
Oh yeah, definitely.
If Star Wars has taught us anything,
if Star Wars has taught us anything, it's that nobody wants it to be the same, but you better believe nobody wants it to be different.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta find this. You gotta find that delicate balance of catering only to a vocal minority of overgrown man children.
That's right.
Hot take Siege coming out of the gate.
Siege, and we like to bring that up and shit talk or whatever, but we venture far and wide into discussions and stuff like that, and I'm of the filthy casual opinion that I just enjoy things. You should let people enjoy things. Yeah. And indeed we do.
And indeed we do. And we both liked this. So that was episode 83 of Too Much Energon. We will be back next week with episode 84 of Too Much Energon, with where we'll be talking about War for Cybertron Siege, chapter 2. And if you want to support the podcast, go to patreon.com/lazorcomb, LAZORCOMB. We're starting at the $5 and up tier. You get hours upon hours of bonus preamble audio.
So many hours
of us just talking about this, that, or the other thing prior to us getting into recording the shows proper. The preamble for this episode of Too Much Energon, in fact, is about an hour long. We talk about everything from from video games to our motherboards.
I
And laugh about how comical the names of computer hardware are, gaming focused computer hardware is. So that's available at the $5 tier. You also get a monthly-ish commentary track. We did one recently for the first Highlander movie. That was a lot of fun. I think that's my favorite one we've done so far.
Yeah.
And a whole bunch of other things. $10 tier, you get I mentioned our earlier in the episode, I mentioned our news and current events program, Lasercomb Tonight. And we also have another podcast called the Lasercomb Podcast. And if you're a $10 patron, you get to pick a show for us to review a random episode of. So if you want to get in on that, go to patreon.com/lasercomb. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/lasercomb, or you can follow the show on Twitter @TooMuchEnergon, or you can follow me on Twitter @lasercomb, and you can follow Cal at
NeoKal, NEO_KAL.
As I said, we'll be back next week with episode 84 of Too Much Energon. And until then, I've been one of your hosts, Christopher Siege.
And I'm your other host, NeoKal.
And until next week, 1 million Deceptibucks.
1 million Deceptibucks. Or no Energon for you.
1 million? Oh, you're starting to break up there, King. All right, I'll pay. Just find her, save her. Now I'm just quoting Spaceballs directly now. Anyway, bye-bye.
Bye.